Alright, parking lots. Everybody loves them. We've gotten these big parking lots recently. An amazing little asset. I love these things. And I recently found these parking garage uh, roads or something. Well, they're really fun. They're really neat. I love the way they fill out. But the tutorial on them's a little complicated. The guy does, he does a job enough that lets us build this with a little bit of doing. But I wanted to share my experiences building it, what I've learned works really well, and the little quirks that I've noticed when I was playing with the mod. So, we're going to go to the other side over here, and we're going to build one today. Now, these guys pop up under small roads. So when we scroll down through here, we get this little assortment here. We've got the edge roads, which, those are the most prominent. You can kind of see we've got the walls on them. It's flat at ground level. When we go up with the fine road tool, we get our wall all the way around. And when we go bridge with the whole fine road tool, you see it has props on it. So, that's for our top floor. Now, right in here, I'm thinking we're going to put a 10 by 10 in. Now, I want to use these guys here. Now, these, they've got a little quirk to them. So, when you put them down, depending on the direction that you put them down on, let's see. Let's do 10 right here. So it looks pretty normal like this, right? Now when we go up, it has walls on one side. And you see we've got these little wire. Let me bring that up a little bit. We have these little wires. They're really neat. I like that. It's pretty aesthetic. It's good time. I don't know why there's... Oh, wait. Is that a mailbox? No, it's like a parking thing. Okay, well, they're fun. So, those will appear on the bridge ones, but let's say, you drag it like this, it's going to pop up on the side closest to you. If you drag it the other way, it's going to pop up on the other side. You can't, do the right-click upgrade thing to swap what side that prop is on. It's heavily dependent on which way you place it. I've noticed that was something that I played around with the other one when I tried to upgrade them, and it just turned into a little bit of a mess. So I figured it out. I wanted to share that with everybody ahead of time. So what I want to do, I'm going to make a 10 by 10 right here next to that. I'm going to turn snapping off, and we're going to turn road guidelines off too, just so that we're not getting that all over the place. So I want to do 10 anarchy, then we're gonna go and grab this one. Is that 10? Yes. We're gonna do a 10 by 10. Just gonna be a little square. It's gonna be nice and clean. Ooh, this is the ground level. Pardon me. I'll fix that one. So you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this out. Snapping off, it can be a little tricky to pick up the node. Just make sure you get right in the center. If you have precision engineering on, it makes it a lot easier because then you can see the little green sweep with the angle. And that lets you know that yes, you have indeed snapped to your node. So since we're so small, we're only going to use the 20 meter inner roads. There are 36-meter inner roads, which are bigger. They support 2 lanes of parking, which that's pretty neat. So I want the elevator to be closer to this side. So we're gonna... Actually, do I have room for 3 in here? If I do, I'll put the elevator in the middle, maybe. No, I think there's just the room for the 2. And then we're gonna have the next one go right in here. And that creates our first floor. Now, using Move It, I'm going to shift-click all of these nodes, and I'm going to scoot this beginning of my structure to exactly where I want it. So, ideally, you probably want to do this with snapping off, and like for me, I'm watching the little green lines on that building there because I don't want it to clip with it. So I think right about here will be a good spot for it, yeah. So now I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it somewhere I don't care about all that much. So we're going to slap it down right over here. Now this is where I start to differ heavily from the tutorial. In that I'm going to take this and I'm going to upgrade all of these roads to the ones that I want. Let's see. But elevated. So that one's going in the direction I need it to. This one? No. So that one I'm going to have to adjust. So just get rid of that one for now. And then I want the main sides to be the regular walls. And we want our inner elevator. And we want our inner bit right there. What it'll do is because this is the no pave road is directional, I'm gonna put it on after. So we're gonna eventually copy and paste that. So I'm gonna get out of Move It here, pull this back up. Now all of these layers, they need to be 3 apart, or 3 units. So what I'll be doing, because all this land's pretty much flat, so I can pop up a little bit below 3, a little 6, and we'll go, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. So now we'll copy this and we'll turn snapping on. And snapping will actually eventually, just like that, it'll clip right to it, which is great. So then undo the copy right there so that we have our little thing, and we can go to object height, sky. Now you see we have our second floor, and then we're gonna take our no paved garage road. I think this is the direction I need. Yes, that was the direction I needed. Okay. As you see, now we have our little fence there. And for the next, before we do the next bit, you want to make our ramps. So I highly recommend doing the ramps beforehand. So we're going to go right down to normal, and I'm going to turn snapping back on in the Find Road tool. And while you're in here, if you click, you can generally figure out, you know, which one you're on. So we pulled out of the bottom one there, which is perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. And I want to go up from one level to the next on this side. So hover until you don't see the 3 meter anymore. snapping off. Hit Control. Is it Alt? Yeah. Okay, Control and Alt together for being able to adjust your angle a little more precisely with precision engineering. And we'll make that little straight road. And over here, we'll come up here. And do the same thing. Just gotta be a little, it's a little tricky to find it, but once we have it, plop it down, and then you can go from here to there, and we have our first ramp up to our second level, and it's nice and neat. Over top of that, we've got a single grid space apart, which means that nothing's gonna be clipping in a funny way or anything like that. So now from this side, I highly recommend, now that we've got our second floor in, pull this out of the second floor beforehand. And we want to, you can see right here, I'll snap onto the grid. It shows the little 90-degree thing. We want to make sure that we're not snapping onto the grid with the 90-degree bit. And you see right there, I just did it. Get rid of that, we'll try it again. This is the tricky part. This is one of the trickier parts. Trying to get this to not clip. Oops. Oh, I see what I did here. There we go. Okay. Sometimes it gets a little finicky when you're working with it. So no. No. Okay. And now snap to that. Stop snapping. Alright, you know what? I'm sorry, building. Gonna hold it. Shift and Alt, or Control and Alt together, or just Alt, whichever you prefer. And we'll pull that out a little bit. And when we make the ramp up to the next one, we'll just delete that little dibble there. That's what the guy did in most of his tutorial, was he'd have branching off paths for most things, because clicking the nodes does get a little complicated here. Right, so I'm gonna copy that. We're gonna get the snap back in. So this is floor 3, so that's 6 meters. And we're gonna take this guy here. And do the same thing. We're gonna jut out a little bit. We're gonna go from here straight up to the next one. So we have nice, smooth transitions between our floors. And here's where it starts to get, this is where it starts to get easy, which is nice. And this is going to be our 4th floor, the final. Paste that in. We'll align to our final object up there. And you know what? I messed up. So I'm gonna put this bad boy over there for right now. Because I didn't make my pathway out. It's going to be exceedingly hard to latch on to that node in between the layers like that. So we want to snap to hook onto this corner, then turn snapping off right after and just come out for our 90 degrees. And now, there we go. We can just undo that. I put that one over there just in case the undo broke, which I've had happen before. So we're gonna add our last little.
Listen closely. It's the sound of refreshment.
Our last little connector road there.
Pop soda refreshment.
And we're gonna come
Pop
up.
soda. Belch
Ooh,
the
pop
best.
soda. Now you see right here how this is kind of wonky. That unfortunately happens a little too often, where sometimes we'll create an extra node in there for no reason while we're building this. So I'm gonna delete that. Oh, okay, I see. So it just doesn't want to be there. So we're gonna get rid of that. And we're gonna copy this guy back up.
And now we're going to listen to a song our official partners inform me is specifically designed to stimulate
It's okay.
population increase
It's a
near
little
our
finicky,
Mars. I hope you Earthlings will also enjoy
but the end
this
result
reference.
is really neat.
Official Mars radio is always striving to improve.
So slap that down there.
Send feedback, including data describing your results. Pivot tables
Go to
are our
object type.
preferred format.
Go to
Please
that guy. Got our fourth layer. Go from here right across to there. You can see now we got our nice, smooth connections. So now we've got our parking lot more or less situated. So now, right, okay, so everything for it is located in the park section here for our parking spaces and whatnot. The purple ones here, they're a 4-level. So you get single space, triple space, etc., etc. So for pretty much everything we're going to be doing over here, you can't really see it until you plop it down. But everything we're going to do here is going to be based on the single space between. So I'm going to unselect everything here. That way I'm not accidentally moving any of the nodes around. And if we're lucky, move it snapping will be in line really well to help us set this up. So what I like to do is I like to just copy and paste the road bits in. But you can see sometimes snapping's a little messy. Occasionally it works in your advantage, sometimes it does not. So, more or less, you throw these guys down. I'm just going to scoot them all over, and then we'll adjust their positioning a little bit. Like that one. And at this point, it's just going to be a lot of, adjusting. Adjusting here and there, make sure that everything's right where you want it, so that people actually park in it. You can see right here, I'm a little too close to the road, like how they're running in like that. It's because these parking spots are close enough to the road to where this road thinks, oh hey, we can get to that from here. So I might end up actually deleting some of that road, reorganizing my streets a little bit, just so that people aren't flying. Otherwise, they will utilize the ramps and you know, come on up through the whole ordeal. Which is part of the strong appeal of this. But more or less, if you know how to use Move It and can copy and paste with a little bit of finesse, you find that these things work out really, really well. Now, there is a concern that they utilize more nodes than they should. You know, there are people that push this game to the absolute boundary, and one of the limits they hit outside of, you know, oh no, there's too many trees, is there's too many nodes. Check that out. So now we've got our parking spaces, and we're going to make sure that we have our props. So we want to go bridge and upgrade. So we're going to get our elevator building in. We're going to get our light poles. And just be careful when you're upgrading, make sure you're hitting the right road, otherwise you may have to delete and remake an entire layer. And the last part here, there is an elevator piece here. 4-level elevator building. So this little guy, you want to turn it to be in line with your elevator. It's basically an invisible path that just goes up to the 4th floor and down between the other floors that the Sims can latch onto, and thus helping create the elevator effect. And that's it. We have our parking garage. All of the internal parking spots will work, and eventually this whole bad boy will fill up completely and give our Sims a way to enjoy the roads outside of just public transportation and walking. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again in the next tutorial. Next time I'm going to cover this guy over here. I'll give you a little peek. One of these guys. You can see it's a little animated barrier. It pops up and down and lets cars go through and not go through. It's a really neat thing. It's kind of a complicated bit. I haven't seen a video tutorial for it yet, and I wanted to create that to help other people enjoy it as well.